and we started off giving corporate training to the then Satyam computers. So the need then for the employability skills was there were all these engineers who were going abroad, and they had to be trained on telephonic skills to interaction and grooming and etiquette.
Hello and welcome to Ukiyoto Author Podcast Series, From Pages to Podium, where every author's stories find its true voice. I am your host, Shankalita Roy. Today, we are delighted to welcome an accomplished author, educator, leadership communication specialist, and corporate trainer whose work has empowered learners and professionals for nearly 3 decades. Please welcome Professor Dr. Soujanya Pudi. She has dedicated her career to shaping confident communicators, ethical leaders, and future ready professionals. Through her books, research, and training programs, she continues to inspire meaningful learning that extends far beyond the classroom. Today, we will be talking about her book, 21st Century Employability Skills, a practical guide that explores the skills needed to succeed in today's fast changing world and the inspiration behind writing it. Ma'am, welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning, and thank you so much for having me on your show.
You're
Such a
welcome, ma'am.
pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you as well. So let us move to the first question. So, ma'am, you have spent 3 decades working in education, leadership, communication, and professional training. So, what inspired you to write 21st Century Employability Skills, and why did you feel this book was needed today?
All right. I've been teaching for the last 29 years, to be more specific, and I've been into training them on employability skills, language skills, and ELT. And I have seen, along with HR and other areas as well, as we move ahead with it. And I realized that at various phases of their these during my teaching career, the last 3 decades, shift which has taken place in terms of the employment, and the skills required have changed drastically. But unfortunately, uh, you know, the students, the kind of textbooks they're prescribed, or the exposure they have, still goes back to those maybe not to the current times. And as I say this, I would like to take you back to glimpses of how I actually started off. I am basically a language teacher from FLU. I've done my courses there. And then Mr. Professor Matthew Modipalli, who was one of those founding pillars of the business communication department in Ahmedabad, he had started off a course called Consultancy in Communication Skills. It was way back in the late 90s. And then I went on to, and I was one of those few participants who was chosen, and we started off giving corporate training to the then Satyam computers. So the need then for the employability skills was there were all these engineers who were going abroad, and they had to be trained on telephonic skills to interaction and grooming and etiquette. So the journey started there and has continued so far. So I have seen that from that time to now, the various skills which somebody needs to pick up have changed drastically, right? Earlier, you would have people who were with such great brains and may not have been so eloquent, or with people never paid so much of emphasis on employability skills,
Yes.
or your grooming, communication, etiquette, and all of these factors. But move around to 2000, 2001, 2. It became a part of the regular curriculum in almost all the B schools and general universities, colleges as well. And now, when you look at it, right from 2015, 20, always communication was a very important factor. But then pronounced employability skills started evolving post that, right? And now, as you see it, it's one of the factors which would ensure you get into a job. If you cannot have the right kind of a personality and communication, you may not actually be able to fetch yourself a better job.
Yes,
But now, post 2020, there's been a major shift which has taken place. A major shift which has taken place, right? We have trainers, we have people who are doing a lot of freelance work, people who are regular faculty in colleges, who are training students on various aspects. But then the need is changing because now we are dealing with a different generation altogether. We're dealing with the industry requirements, which are far more different than what used to be in the late 90s to the 2010. So that inspired me to write this book on the various skill sets which are required for 21st century employment. I hope that
yeah.
satisfies you.
Yes, and it's amazing to know that how, like, the employability skills are changing over time, and how the things we often ignore, that is our communication plays a huge role here.
Absolutely.
Yes. So let's move to the next question. So your book discusses the skills required to thrive in the 21st century. Among all the employability skills you discuss, which three do you believe are absolutely essential for every student and young professional today, and why?
I speak about that in my book as well. The one important thing is ask, attitude, skills, and knowledge. In that order. Attitude, never say die, I would say. A very positive attitude. How confident, how positive, how open a personality you are, the attitude. Then comes the skill sets. So each industry has its own skill sets, which the industry demands, right? But one predominant thing is your communication, your team building skills, your leadership skills, all these skills which are important apart from your tech skills and all of the other skills which are important, right? Then comes your domain knowledge. Because before you interact with a person, the very first thing you notice about a person is the attitude. Next comes the skills which you put across the table while you're interacting with the person, right? And then when further questions start coming in is when a person understands your knowledge level. So for me, I always have been emphasizing with my students, I always say, do you have the ask? So before this is something when I do all my corporate trainings as well, I tell the industry, when you sit for a recruitment, when you look at a candidate, you are only going to understand, does he or she have the ask? And the student has to also understand whether he or she has that ask. Has he trained himself consciously? Because you guys, the youngsters of today, have a lot of information around. They are opened up to a lot more of information. I see a lot of Insta reels to a lot of podcasts and all of that would talk much about it. But end of it, watching and viewing is different, but then implementing it in your own life is a little different.
Okay, that's great. So, ma'am, So many students believe that securing a degree is enough to build a successful career. In your experience, what are the biggest gaps about academic knowledge and real world employability?
That's exactly what I was talking about. Uh, Students never understand that they will have to work on a conscious effort has to be made in terms of their career development and advancement. There are two different spheres,
Yeah.
the same spectrum. You need to work on yourself. You need to work on your knowledge level, your skill sets. So a degree, you know, is very important to get into a job. But
Yes.
then a simple degree will not take you to a job. The experiences which you have had along with securing a degree is what makes you a different person, right? When the industry is looking for a person who's going to be a go-getter, someone who is friendly, who is someone who is interactive, who can manage teams, who is, I don't want, because most of my industry friends tell me that please give us a finished product. I'm not going to recruit them and then train them on the industry, in the industry. I want someone who's trained.
Yeah.
So a degree doesn't always guarantee you that. But now, most of the institutions and most of according to the NEP and all of that, you have the emphasis which is being laid in terms because after so many years, after almost 50 years, our academic curriculum underwent a lot of change, right? And because of which you have had all these skills and courses which would make a student make a holistic student there in place. So
Oh,
it's very important that students think beyond degrees and look at experiences.
it's actually very true because experiences make us who we are, and based on that
Right.
only, like people choose to hire another employee. It's very true, ma'am. So, ma'am, in this generation, technology, automation, and artificial intelligence are changing workforce rapidly. How can individuals contribute to remain relevant and future ready without feeling overwhelmed by these changes?
To make yourself relevant, you got to learn, relearn, unlearn. Because you need to do a lot of inner re-engineering, because you need to understand the requirement, the changing requirements. I should not be thinking that if I have to stay relevant even after another few years, given my age and the times I've spent in the academic world. Now, I cannot settle and say, look, I've arrived, I have nothing else to learn. But yeah, it's a learning is a continuous process and you just can't stop. And AI is not something which you are going, which is not going to take away your jobs at all, but you're going to live with it because you are
Yes,
using it day in and day out. It's just that you will have to, because there has been an apprehension throughout that, whenever the technology came in, people said they'd lose their jobs. There's so many things at various points of time. But now I think we will have to understand that we will have to live with the changing times. I think COVID has taught us that,
yes.
of uncertain times. And all that you can bank on is your ask, because nobody is going to take it away from you.
I absolutely agree with you, ma'am. It's absolutely. So, ma'am, beyond technical skills, your work consistently highlights communication, leadership, ethics, and personal values. Why do you believe these human qualities remain just as important in an increasingly digital world?
Right. Because, as I say, in this, you look around the kind of confusion, the kind of uncertainty we have, be it the climate change to the uh, change in our attitudes or changing situations around. I think one needs to focus on how you're going to put across your ideas, and communication plays a very important role there. I had this morning, I had somebody telling me that, do you think it's actually very important to uh, improve on a written communication because we have the ChatGPT and Claude taking care of most of it? I said, but that somebody has to even review it, right? If you do not have the knowledge, you're going to pick up whichever right and wrong information is being given to you.
Yes.
Yeah. So for that, your skills have to be good. So we talk about very important is how do you put across your ideas both in the written and the spoken format, and how do you actually uh, have that personality and have that attitude to survive in the world. Sorry, I lost the last part of your question. I think I was little.
Okay, so I'm repeating the question again. So, beyond technical knowledge, your work consistently highlights communication, leadership, ethics, and personal values. Why do you believe
Right.
these human qualities remain just as important in an increasingly digital world?
Okay. Uh, to focus to a large extent, my focus always has been apart from your skills. To be humane is one of the important aspects in anybody's life. Biggest differentiator in any person, apart from the ask, is your basic aptitude towards your sympathy, empathy, and your core values, because that defines having,
Yes,
if a person is wanting to be success in any field, he or she can break it by the kind of value systems he comes from and the kind of ethics practices. I'm not trying a moral keeper in this. I'm not talking about correcting somebody, but I would say that before you correct anybody, correct yourself, because this is something which I've learned from my guru, and this is something which I've learned as a matter of fact is from the institutions I've passed out from. And I strongly believe that to make this world a better place, or to make any organization is made up of people, you need to have right people. You just
yes,
cannot have people who are highly qualified but lack that humanity, lack that core values, because end of it, best of places, when we say the world is bad, society at large is bad, this is happening wrong, this is happening right, I mean, we are trying to judge every situation and every person. I think we need to move beyond that and understand acceptance, mutual respect, and all these are and basic thing of having that love for a fellow being and accepting them, that becomes a very defining factor. So I strongly feel that uh, if you could focus, because I try to do it in my classrooms or my interactions, I strongly focus the youth of today are the future of tomorrow. And I think uh, anybody and everyone who we come across finds that, I have had a student once telling me that, ma'am, what have you guys left for us in this world? Be it water, be it the land, be it situations around, everything is polluted and we are having to fend for ourselves. So, in a situation like that, you look back and say, what is that course correction we can do? We could only start bringing in that small little things of truth, value, mutual respect, empathy, sympathy, kindness, and a lot of love for every person in the world, be it the animals, be it the human beings, about be it any entity around the world. I think once those, uh, you know, ideas get into your mind, I think you could really make a difference. And ethics is not, my ethics might be different from yours. Yours might be different from others. But there's
yes,
some universal things each one of us practices to make this world a better place. So what we need to do is, I strongly feel that if we could bring it out in a very subtle way, not sounding didactic, because this is not my goal to change anyone. But
yeah,
again, sometimes information is also very important. Communication becomes very important. So I try to emphasize to a large extent on all these, because you would see a lot of these people following the talks on management lessons from various scriptures, textbooks, personalities from ancient mythology. But I think more than reading and all of that, it's very important that we read all of that so that we gather the information, right? But I think it is also important to reiterate time and again so that it really shapes the end product which we are looking at. When I say the end product, we're talking about our, be it a student, be it an individual, be it an employee who is looking at a particular course or a book to ensure that he or she would function better in the world. I think these features become very important.
That's really true. And actually, this is like we focus achieving more and more, but we don't focus on the
Yes.
basic things that makes us like a world a
Absolutely.
better place. And I just really love this answer. So let's move to the next one.
Nice.
So, as an educator, mentor, and leadership coach, you have worked with countless students and professionals. What common challenges do you observe in young people entering today's workforce, and what practical advice would you give them?
I guess I have always felt this the last few years very strongly is we are living in such changing times
Yeah,
because no one has the time to listen to anybody.
yeah,
Everyone is in a race.
yes,
Everyone is trying to um, compete. People are trying to, in the rat race, progress as fast as we can. So the parents don't have time for children. Children do not have time for parents. Um, colleagues are in their own world, and the gadgets which we use of today, I think that's a norm of the present times, right? So in a situation like this, the I've seen that the major shift which has happened is there's a lot of information people have. You ask them, they have a lot of information, but then uh, there is an urge that you need to be heard, and that's why social media is so popular, because both the parents are busy, they're working.
yeah,
So the child is trying to seek a lot of engagement with the gadget which is given to him. And
yes,
every time my mom used when a child is being fed with the mobile in hand, I wonder, times when our children grew up, when my children grew up, or things like that, how things would times have been and how they are
yeah,
changing. So they need a voice. So it could be in terms of writing a piece, a blog, or a production. And so you need a way to connect with the students. We don't connect with the youth, connect with the youngsters. We need to have that connect. And that connect comes with a lot more of using the tools for communication at the same time.
yes,
And you hardly communicate with yourself. There's hardly any time. Everyone, the moment you get up, you're always trying to communicate with somebody else outside, but never with yourself.
yeah, it's true.
And that's something which I tell my students, that you will miss meeting a good person, a very nice person, and then you know uh, try to add more value to it if you could just spend some time for yourself. Another important thing which I noticed is restlessness, because everybody wants to be someone, and each one is trying to imitate the others, and the real world has become a real world.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it's wrong, but as much as the youngsters are hooked to it, I had the other day that somebody was telling me, ma'am, we shifted from Facebook to Instagram, and then I think we're going to get off that too because you guys are there too.
yeah,
You're not giving us any space to move into any place, right? So I think the youth of today or the youngsters of today, the changes I have seen is they are much more smarter, much intelligent, and quick to adapt to situations, unlike the previous times. But having said that, there's a lot of restlessness, a lot of energy, which needs to be channelized for a better uh, causes, because there's a lot of self-destruction which is happening in the process, right? And so many of these issues, psychological issues, where people feel that we things which have not happened before are happening now. And thanks that people are, and the generation has actually changed the way we eat, the way we dress, the way we walk, the way we work in our organizations.
Yeah,
There's a whole lot of research, lot of discussion. You'll be seeing it happening every day. That's been a major change which I've seen in the classroom. And no student can sit more than 45 minutes or half an hour in a classroom. And there's a lot of lack of attention.
yeah,
That's a lot of restlessness. And then boredom sets in very fast because you're restless. It has to entice you, engage you. And I think after that, a person would go on to continue with anything which, everything boils down to those 5 minutes or 10 minutes of a discussion. If it is fine, people would go ahead, be it a book, be it, and I think uh, I have noticed it for the last, what kind of students we had in the last few years to now. There's been a major shift. But even it is an academic class, if it's an engaging class or whatever, if people really understand, they would go ahead with it. In 1 second, your battery. Just so. Otherwise, I think every generation, every time, people would talk about the changing phase of youngsters or the changing times of teaching. I think all through we will have to again adapt to it and put into it.
okay, that's actually a very valuable insight that you have offered us today. And as a youngster, also, I'm seeing like a different version of things throughout all generations, as you have seen. So, ma'am, let's move to rapid fire round. So, one skill every student should develop today.
Attitude,
Okay, leadership or communication,
communication,
books or podcast.
books.
Okay, online learning or classroom learning.
I think we need to have blended.
Okay, so one habit that has contributed the most to your success.
Interaction with youngsters
One
keeps
piece
me
of,
connected,
yeah,
keeps
tell.
me connected, makes me understand and comprehend things better to be a finer fit into the society of today.
That's great. So, one piece of advice you would give to your younger self.
Ah, yes, there's so much to my younger self. I think I would say is just go for it.
That's a really good one. So, thank you, ma'am, for joining with us today. It was a pleasure learning about your journey and the inspiration behind 21st century employability skills. To our listeners, if you are looking to build the skills needed to thrive in today's evolving world, this book is a valuable resource to explore. Stay tuned for more inspiring conversations with Ukiyoto authors. Until next time, I'm Shankalita Roy. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much, ma'am.
Thank you. It was a pleasure interacting with you.
Yeah.